They call it glamour. They call it success. They call it the pinnacle of human achievement, a night when the gods of the modern world descend from the silver screen and walk among mortals in gowns woven with starlight. But if you look closely, if you listen not with your ears, but with your soul, you will hear something else entirely, a quiet, trembling question hiding behind the applause. What is all this truly for? The lights dazzle, the cameras flash, and for a moment the whole world worships at the altar of image. Yet beneath every spotlight lies a shadow, and every statue of gold stands upon the fragile foundation of human insecurity. This is not about Hollywood alone. This is about you, me, and the way we've built our modern temples of validation. We may not walk red carpets, but we all know what it feels like to crave recognition, to hunger for applause, to measure our worth by how brightly others see us shine. The award shows are simply mirrors reflecting the psychology of the age. Humanity dressed in desire, trembling under the illusion that being seen is the same as being loved. Truth number 1. Fame is the most seductive form of poverty. It promises abundance, but delivers emptiness in golden wrapping. In the kingdom of image, attention becomes currency. But like all unstable economies, it collapses the moment truth enters the room. You can be adored by millions and yet despised by your own conscience. You can be crowned as a hero on screen, but collapse into silence when the lights go out. The applause that shakes the walls fades faster than the echo of your own thoughts when you're finally alone. This is the tragedy of our age. People trade their peace for perception, their inner wealth for outward validation. They forget that no one has ever become truly rich by collecting eyes. You become rich when you begin to see Hollywood is not a place. It is a metaphor, the theater of human desire. We all have our award shows, the Instagram posts, the promotions, the subtle comparisons, our daily nominations in the endless competition for approval. You may never hold an Oscar, but you've probably held your breath, waiting for someone to notice your effort, your beauty, your achievement. And yet, the moment they do, the satisfaction vanishes like mist, and you are left hungry again. Why? Because applause cannot feed the soul. It can only distract it. The applause of the world is like fast food for the spirit, quick, salty, and fleeting. It gives you the illusion of nourishment, while your deeper self starves quietly underneath. The wise understand that every award, every golden statue, every word of praise is merely a reflection of something greater, the divine image of potential that already exists within you. C.S. Lewis once wrote that our greatest tragedy is not that we desire too much, but that we desire too little. We chase small crowns while ignoring the kingdom within. We worship fleeting lights when we are made of eternal flame. Every human being carries within them the architecture of greatness, yet most will spend their lives decorating a fragile shell rather than building the cathedral of their character. Truth number 2. Success without transformation is failure in disguise. Hollywood teaches us to perform, not to become. But life is not a performance. It is a pilgrimage. The award shows glorify the mask, the role, the act, the illusion, but the soul cannot be fooled. It knows when the applause is not for who you are, but for who you pretended to be. And many will die having lived as characters in someone else's story, never daring to meet the real self behind the role. The modern world is obsessed with the appearance of change motivational slogans, self-help mantras, temporary resolutions, but transformation begins not in the spotlight, but in the shadow. It begins when you confront the uncomfortable truth that no one is coming to save you, that no applause will ever be enough, that the person you are waiting to become is already buried beneath your own excuses. To change yourself is to declare war on your old identity. It is to step off the red carpet of comfort and walk barefoot into the wilderness of truth. The real heroes of life are not those who win awards, but those who master themselves in silence. The man who overcomes his laziness, the woman who forgives when she could destroy, the soul that chooses discipline over comfort, these are the unseen saints of our time. Their reward is not golden, but eternal. You can measure a person's greatness not by what the world gives them, but by what they refuse to trade their integrity for. Look again at those who stand on stage, holding trophies with tears in their eyes. Many are sincere. They have worked hard. But if you could hear their thoughts in that moment, you would hear the tremor of something deeper, the knowledge that even the greatest recognition cannot fill the void that only truth can fill. Because human beings are not designed merely for applause. We are designed for meaning. The applause ends. The meaning endures. The lights fade. The truth remains. The role ends. The soul continues. Truth number 3. You do not rise by seeking to be seen. You rise by seeing clearly. The modern mind is addicted to visibility, to the illusion that recognition equals reality. But the most powerful work in the world happens unseen. Trees grow in silence. Foundations are built underground. A diamond forms in pressure, not praise. The people who change the world are those who work when no one is watching, who plant seeds they may never live to see bloom. That is the real essence of greatness, to live not for applause, but for alignment, not for fame, but for faithfulness to the truth that burns within you. Hollywood award shows make a spectacle of success, but real success rarely shines. It builds, it refines, it prays, it endures. The man who learns to control his tongue, the woman who rises early to shape her craft, the person who chooses honesty when lies would be easier. These are the quiet architects of heaven on earth. You cannot be truly rich until you are rich in patience, rich in gratitude, rich in integrity. Every other form of wealth is counterfeit if your soul is in debt. Truth number 4. The world crowns talent, but life crowns character. Awards are given for performance, but heaven gives favor for perseverance. The trophies of the world rust, melt, and fade, but the soul that endures trial with grace becomes something indestructible. You do not need a golden statue to prove your worth. You prove it every time you rise from failure with humility. Every time you choose honesty over applause, you are engraving your own name in the book of eternal victory. And finally, truth number 5. The real award show happens within. Every day, your thoughts nominate you for peace or for chaos. Your choices cast votes for courage or for fear. Your actions decide who wins your higher self or your lower instincts. Every morning you step onto the stage of life, and the audience is not the world, but your own conscience. The question is not whether they will applaud, but whether your soul will. You have no control over whether the world sees your greatness, but you have absolute control over whether you live it. If you want to be rich, do not chase money. Chase mastery. Money follows value, and value follows virtue. The truly rich are those who wake up every day determined to be better than they were yesterday, not for applause, not for fame, but because growth is the only true form of gratitude. The moment you stop growing, you start decaying. You were not made to survive comfort. You were made to transcend it. The most powerful people in the world are not those holding trophies, but those holding themselves accountable. They are the silent warriors who choose discipline when no one is watching, who resist the temptation to give up when no one is cheering, who understand that every victory begins with a single decision. I will not betray myself today. The world tells you to chase visibility. Wisdom tells you to chase vision. The award shows will continue. The red carpets will roll. The cameras will flash. But every illusion eventually burns in the fire of truth. And when the glitter settles and the noise fades, the only thing left standing will be the person you have become. That is your true award. That is your eternal show. That is the ceremony of the soul. And yet, most people would rather polish the mask than cleanse the soul. They spend years learning how to pose, how to perform, how to craft the perfect image that the crowd will adore. But the tragedy is that in perfecting their performance, they lose the art of being real. They forget how to look in the mirror and see themselves without costume or applause. There is a loneliness that fame cannot cure, the loneliness of being unseen, even when the world is looking, because they see your light, but they do not see your flame. They see your face, but not your faith. They see your glory, but not your grace. What is the use of the world's recognition if your own heart no longer recognizes you? You can lose yourself in pursuit of admiration. You can become a stranger in your own story, successful, yes, but hollow, walking through life with a trophy in one hand and an emptiness in the other. It is better to fail as yourself than to succeed as an imitation. It is better to walk in obscurity with peace than to dance in the spotlight with anxiety. For peace is not found in applause. It is found in alignment when your actions and your values no longer quarrel, but sing in harmony. The man who lives by principle cannot be corrupted by praise. The woman who serves truth cannot be seduced by flattery. And yet, this is where most people fall in the subtle trap of comparison. They begin to measure their worth by what others receive. If someone else gets the award, they question their purpose. If someone else is seen, they feel invisible. But envy is spiritual blindness. It makes you stare at another man's blessing while ignoring your own. The truth is that your life is not meant to look like anyone else's highlight reel. You are not a duplicate. You are a divine original. No one on earth can play your part because the role was written in the language of your soul. The path to greatness is not found on red carpets, but on quiet mornings when no one is watching, when the world sleeps and you rise to shape your destiny in the secret space between who you are and who you could become. Every act of discipline is a prayer. Every hour spent improving yourself is a vote cast for the person you are becoming. Greatness does not appear. It accumulates. It builds slowly in silence until one day it becomes undeniable. That is why you must not despise small beginnings. Every empire begins as an invisible idea. Every giant started as a seed. The illusion of Hollywood is that greatness is glamorous. It is not. Greatness is gritty. It is forged in silence, sharpened in solitude, and tempered in time. Behind every shining star, there is a graveyard of failures, doubts, and sleepless nights. But the world never sees that part. They see the moment of glory and assume it was effortless. They see the award, but not the wounds. They see the confidence, but not the crying. They see the product, but not the process. And this illusion poisons the modern soul. It makes us believe that the reward is separate from the struggle. But the reward is the struggle. The fire that refines you is the same fire that crowns you. You do not grow by avoiding discomfort. You grow by embracing it. The gym is not a place of comfort, but of controlled pain. So is life. Every challenge you face is an invitation to expand your soul. The universe is not testing you. It is teaching you. Every disappointment, every delay, every rejection is a divine rehearsal for the strength you will one day need. You cannot demand greatness and resist difficulty at the same time. The mountain cannot be climbed by wishing. It is conquered by will. So let us speak of will, that invisible force that separates the dreamer from the doer. The will is the furnace of the soul. Without it, no amount of talent, beauty, or opportunity will save you. Hollywood celebrates talent, but life celebrates tenacity. There are countless brilliant people who never became anything because they never mastered the art of persistence. They wanted the applause without the endurance, the crown without the cross. the victory without the discipline. But every dream that is not guarded by discipline dies in the desert of distraction. You cannot pray for greatness while entertaining laziness. You cannot wish for wealth while clinging to excuses. You cannot desire transformation while refusing discomfort. The will to rise must burn brighter than the fear of pain. That is the law of every champion. Those who build their will are unstoppable because they no longer depend on motivation. Motivation is emotion. Will is covenant. Motivation whispers, I feel like it. Will declares, I will, no matter what. The secret is this. You become wealthy the moment you stop chasing money and start chasing mastery. Money is merely a byproduct of usefulness. If you master your craft, the world cannot ignore you. If you become so valuable that others cannot replace you, wealth becomes inevitable. But mastery requires humility. It requires you to become a student again, to unlearn your arrogance, to submit to the process of being refined. You must be willing to fail 1,000 times to understand one truth deeply. And you must love the process more than the result, because results are temporary, but character is permanent. The problem with modern ambition is that it is impatient. We want instant success, instant fame, instant recognition, but nothing eternal grows instant. You cannot microwave mastery. You cannot download discipline. The human soul does not evolve at the speed of technology. It grows at the speed of surrender when you learn to let go of control and trust the long, quiet work of becoming. Every day that you choose consistency over comfort, you are building invisible wealth. Every day that you stay faithful to your calling, even when no one claps, you are adding interest to your inner fortune. And if you ever doubt that this silent path matters, look again at the illusions of fame. How many of those crowned by the world are empty inside? How many of those adored by millions fall into despair when the lights go off? The world sees the success, but heaven sees the emptiness, because success built on vanity is like a castle of glass, beautiful to behold, but one storm away from ruin. Build your empire on truth, and no wind can destroy it. Build it on image, and it will crumble under your own reflection. There will come a day when the spotlight of this world fades, when all the awards, all the praise, all the achievements are buried under dust. But what you have become will endure. The habits you built, the courage you cultivated, the love you gave, those are your true trophies. Those are the invisible awards that follow you beyond time. No one may hand them to you on a stage, but the soul will wear them like armor in eternity. You were not created to be admired. You were created to awaken to your purpose, to your potential, to the divine reality that you are both fragile and infinite, small and eternal. The greatest wealth is not stored in banks, but in hearts that have discovered peace. The richest man is not the one who owns the world, but the one who has mastered himself. For the man who conquers himself has conquered all that enslaves humanity: fear, pride, greed, and vanity. Look at the faces of the stars when they win. Some smile with genuine joy. Others, though smiling, have eyes that look like broken glass, glittering but empty, because deep down they know that applause is not love. Applause is transaction. It is conditional. It fades the moment you stop performing. Love, however, does not fade. Love is truth in motion. It is the force that transforms ambition into purpose, success into service, fame into legacy. If you want to live richly, live in such a way that when you die, people remember not what you had, but what you gave. Let your life be the award show of the spirit, where humility wins the highest honor, where courage is given standing ovation, where kindness takes home the crown. For in the theater of eternity, these are the only performances that matter. And when you learn this, when you truly grasp that the meaning of life is not to be admired but to be awakened, the world loses its power over you. You no longer chase trends. You create truth. You no longer wait for permission. You walk in purpose. You no longer seek validation. You embody value. That is the freedom that no fame can offer, the freedom of becoming who you were created to be, even if the world never claps. But let us go deeper still. For beneath all the glamour, beneath the golden statues and shimmering gowns, there is a deeper truth that humanity fears to face, that our hunger for recognition is a disguised longing for God. Every time we crave applause, what we are really craving is connection. Every time we chase validation, what we are really seeking is meaning. The human heart was not designed to live on attention alone. It was made to be anchored in something eternal. The tragedy of modern ambition is that it confuses worship with marketing. We no longer kneel before truth. We advertise it. We no longer confess our weakness. We brand it as authenticity. In the house of mirrors that we call culture, everyone is performing sincerity, and everyone is exhausted. Fame is not evil, but it is dangerous, because it magnifies whatever is already within you. If your heart is empty, fame will turn that emptiness into an echo chamber. If your heart is grounded, fame becomes a tool. You see, it is not the stage that corrupts the soul, but the illusion that the stage defines it. You were meant to stand before the world not as a beggar for applause, but as a bearer of truth. When you forget that, the light that once illuminated you begins to blind you. And so many lose themselves here in the pursuit of being seen. They chase visibility like moths to a flame, not realizing that the very thing that draws them in will burn them if they get too close. It is a strange paradox. People desire fame because they believe it will make them free. Yet it is the most elegant form of slavery ever invented. The more the world sees you, the less of yourself you are allowed to be. You become a hostage to the image. Every opinion becomes a cage. Every expectation becomes a chain. Until one day you look in the mirror and cannot remember who you were before the performance began. But there is another way, a quieter, nobler path, the path of the unseen builder, the one who works not for applause but for impact, the one who creates not to be admired but to serve, the one who wakes each morning with a quiet resolve, today I will build something true. This is the mindset of the spiritually rich. They understand that real power does not come from being followed, but from being faithful. That true influence is not measured in numbers, but in transformation. The rich in spirit are not loud. They are steady. They carry an inner wealth that no market crash can destroy. Their peace cannot be bought. Their joy cannot be stolen, because their treasure is not of this world. Their value is built on principles, not popularity. Their foundation is character, not applause. They may walk unnoticed, but heaven recognizes their steps. For while the world is busy awarding statues of gold, the universe quietly crowns souls of integrity. If you want to know how to become truly wealthy, begin here. Stop trying to impress others, and start trying to improve yourself. The world doesn't need more impressive people. It needs more real ones. You cannot bless what you pretend to be. You cannot heal the world while hiding from your own wounds. Every act of honesty adds to your fortune. Every moment of courage deposits light into your spiritual account. Every time you choose truth over convenience, you multiply your eternal wealth. To be rich is to live with intention, to wake each morning and know that your choices matter, to refuse to live on autopilot, to choose gratitude when the world complains, to choose faith when fear seems rational, to choose kindness when revenge would be easier. These are not small decisions. They are investments in eternity. Every great life is built one invisible choice at a time. The truly wealthy do not ask, "What can I get?" They ask, "What can I give?" Because they have discovered a secret that the world still laughs at, that giving is not losing. It is the purest form of multiplication. The more love you give, the more love grows within you. The more gratitude you express, the more abundance you attract. The more light you share, the brighter your own path becomes. You do not run out of light by lighting another's candle. You simply illuminate the world. And yet the modern man has forgotten this. He lives in a culture that glorifies accumulation, more fame, more followers, more possessions, and calls it growth. But you can grow outwardly and decay inwardly. You can expand your empire and shrink your soul. You can rise in rank, but fall in worth. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose the one person he was born to know himself? There is a sickness in our generation, the addiction to validation. It eats away at peace. It kills creativity. It blinds the mind. People are no longer living for truth. They are living for likes. They do not ask, "Is this good?" They ask, "Will this go viral?" They do not say, "This is who I am." They say, "This is what works." And thus the soul is bartered in microseconds for applause that disappears in minutes. The award shows merely magnify this human drama. They are our collective confession, broadcast in high definition. We have traded authenticity for attention. But here is the shocking grace: you can break the spell at any moment. You can walk away from the noise and return to truth. You can reclaim your inner wealth, rebuild your soul, and live by a standard that no applause can touch. That is the great rebellion of our age, to live meaningfully in a world obsessed with appearance, to choose substance over spectacle, to choose purpose over popularity. You may say, "But I am not in Hollywood." Oh, but you are. Every one of us plays on the same stage. Your audience may be smaller, but the performance is the same. The approval of your peers, the pressure to look successful, the anxiety of comparison, these are your cameras, your lights, your red carpet. And the courage to be real in such a world is the rarest award of all. To change your life, you must first change your mind. You cannot think like the crowd and live like a king. The crowd follows feelings. The wise follow principles. Feelings are waves. They crash and vanish. Principles are mountains. They endure. Build your mind upon truth, and no storm will shake you. Fill your days with gratitude, and scarcity will flee. Train your thoughts as you would train a wild horse, with patience, repetition, and respect, because your thoughts are not your master. They are your tools. If you do not control them, they will control you. Every rich mind begins with discipline, not the rigid, lifeless discipline of force, but the living discipline of purpose, the ability to say no to the impulses that waste your potential, the discipline to focus when distraction seduces you, the discipline to keep going when the feeling fades, the discipline to delay pleasure for the sake of power. For freedom is not the absence of restraint, it is the mastery of it. A man without discipline is a slave to his desires. A man with discipline is a ruler of worlds. And if you want to rise, if you want to taste the fruit of true success, begin where few dare to begin, with humility. The proud are unteachable, but the humble are unstoppable. The moment you admit that you do not know everything, the universe begins to reveal itself to you. Every lesson you refuse to learn repeats itself until you do. Every storm you resist returns stronger until you face it with courage. That is why failure is not your enemy, it is your instructor. It is not there to punish you, but to polish you. There are no wasted days when you live with awareness. Even the pain has purpose. The heartbreak, the loss, The disappointment, they are all chisels in the hands of the master sculptor, shaping your soul into something that can hold greatness. If you knew how much grace hides inside your worst moments, you would never curse them again. Because the thing that broke you was never sent to destroy you. It was sent to awaken you. That is the mystery of life. It often disguises blessings as burdens. The door that closes is protecting you. The delay that frustrates you is preparing you. The failure that humiliates you is humbling you for something far greater. You must learn to read pain as scripture, to listen to suffering as sermon. For life is not punishing you, it is teaching you how to hold the crown you prayed for. You ask how to think rich. Think richly of your time, do not waste it. Think richly of your body, discipline it. Think richly of your mind, feed it. Think richly of others, bless them. Think richly of the future, prepare for it. Poverty begins not in the wallet, but in the worldview. The poor mind says, I'll do it when I feel ready. The rich mind says, I'll do it until I am ready. The poor mind complains about circumstances. The rich mind creates them. The poor mind spends to look successful. The rich mind invests to become significant. Do not envy the famous. Many of them would trade places with the free. You cannot see the cages built by applause until you have been inside one. Better to walk your own quiet road to purpose than to live as a prisoner of performance. For the day you stop needing to be admired, you begin to truly lead. And the day you stop chasing success, you start to attract it. The most shocking truth about all the world's award shows is not what they reveal, but what they conceal. That every statue is hollow, every spotlight temporary, every applause fading yet still, every heart watching hungers for something more. That hunger is your compass. It points not to fame, but to fulfillment. Follow it inward, not upward. There, in the silence, you will meet the richest part of yourself, the self that no stage can display and no critic can destroy. But you must understand this. Awakening is not comfortable. The moment you begin to see through illusion, the world will resist you. It will mock you, test you, and tempt you to return to blindness. Because illusion loves company. The crowd does not want you to wake up. It wants you to conform. But every great life begins the moment you refuse to trade your clarity for their comfort. You were not born to fit in. You were born to rise. You were not made to echo their noise. You were made to sound your own truth. To awaken is to lose what once defined you. It is to walk away from the applause you once depended on. It is to stand naked in front of reality with no mask left to wear and still say, here I am. Most people never reach this point. They stop when the discomfort begins, when the approval fades, when the friends vanish. But those who endure this sacred loneliness discover something extraordinary, that what they thought was loneliness was actually liberation. You are not meant to be understood by everyone. You are meant to be aligned with truth. And truth, though it isolates you, also sanctifies you. It cuts, but it cleanses. It destroys, but it rebuilds. It burns away what is false, so that what is real may finally breathe. The gold of the soul is refined only by the fire of honesty. And honesty demands you look into the mirror and face the parts of yourself you'd rather deny, the envy, the fear, the pride, the smallness that hides behind your ambition. That is where real wealth begins, in self-confrontation. Before you can rule anything outside, you must conquer what's inside. Before you can command success, you must discipline your thought. Before you can inspire others, you must first win the war within. Because the truth is, the loudest battles in life are silent. No one sees the struggle between your will and your weakness, your purpose and your pain. Yet that unseen war determines everything. Every day you are on trial before your own conscience, and your decisions are your verdicts. When you choose integrity over convenience, you are acquitted. When you choose comfort over character, you are condemned. Every lie you tell yourself is a thief stealing from your destiny. Every truth you embrace is a seed of freedom planted in the soil of eternity. So live honestly, not because it is easy, but because dishonesty always costs more than truth. The greatest poverty is not lack of money, it is lack of meaning. You can fill your home with luxury and your soul with noise. But if your life has no direction, you are poor. Meaning is the currency of the eternal. It is what gives value to every hour. Without meaning, success is just motion, endless activity without arrival. But the moment you live for something greater than yourself, even the smallest act becomes sacred. Washing dishes can become worship. Building a business can become service. Every act infused with purpose is transformed into gold. And what is the purpose of all this? It is not simply to achieve, but to awaken, to return to the original design of the human soul, to love, to create, to serve, to grow, to glorify what is good and true and beautiful. You are not a mistake of biology. You are a masterpiece in progress. Every failure is a brush stroke. Every pain is a pigment. Every dream is a whisper of the artist who still paints through your life. Do not curse the process. Trust it, for the hand that wounds is often the same hand that heals. We live in a world that celebrates speed, but the soul matures slowly. It cannot be rushed. You cannot force a tree to bear fruit before its season. Growth requires patience, and patience requires faith. The faith to believe that unseen progress is still progress. The faith to act even when no one claps. The faith to build when the foundation is invisible. Every visionary must endure the years of being misunderstood, ridiculed, ignored, until the moment comes when the fruit finally reveals the truth of the seed. So, if you find yourself in obscurity right now, unseen, uncelebrated, unappreciated, do not despair. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The silence of this season is sacred. It is where your roots are deepening, where your soul is strengthening, where your greatness is fermenting in secret. The caterpillar calls it the end. The Creator calls it transformation. Wealth, power, success, they will all come, but only after humility. You cannot receive the crown before learning to carry the cross. You cannot handle abundance without first mastering restraint. That is why the wise never pray for easy lives. They pray for stronger souls, because the storms will come, and when they do, your foundation will be tested. And if you have built it on vanity, it will collapse. But if you have built it on virtue, you will rise not despite the storm, but because of it. Your trials are not your enemies. They are your allies in disguise. Every disappointment is a doorway. Every obstacle an opportunity. The universe hides its treasures behind challenges because only the brave deserve to find them. The test is never there to shame you. It is there to shape you. You cannot grow in comfort. Comfort is the enemy of expansion. The moment you get too comfortable, life will shake the ground beneath you to remind you that you are capable of more. So when things fall apart, do not panic, rebuild. When they betray you, do not harden, forgive. When you fail, do not retreat, learn. The measure of your wealth is how quickly you recover from loss, because resilience is the real currency of the great. And if you ever feel small, remember this. Even a single candle can defy the darkness of an entire room. You were made to shine, not because you are flawless, but because you are faithful. You cannot become rich in the world until you become rich in heart. And the rich heart is one that has mastered gratitude. Gratitude is the soil in which abundance grows. Without it, no amount of wealth will ever satisfy you. Gratitude transforms ordinary days into miracles, work into worship, and pain into purpose. To live gratefully is to say, I have enough to begin. And from that beginning, everything multiplies. If you want to change your life, begin each morning with this thought. I am not owed anything. I am entrusted with everything. The air you breathe is a gift. The time you have is a gift. The people you love are gifts. The mind that can think, the body that can move, the heart that can feel these are your riches. Do not wait until you lose them to realize their worth. Because gratitude does not just make you happier. It makes you wiser. It sharpens your sight until you see beauty in what others ignore. And when you see beauty, you begin to create it. That is how true wealth spreads, not by accumulation, but by inspiration. You inspire others by the way you live, not by what you possess. People will forget your awards, your speeches, your image, but they will never forget how you made them feel, how your presence lifted their faith, how your strength made their darkness less terrifying. That is the legacy of the truly rich. They make others richer in hope. So live like that. Live as one who has nothing to prove and everything to give. Walk into every room not asking, how can they see me, but how can I serve here? Because the one who serves with love is wealthier than the one who is served with vanity. The one who gives truth is greater than the one who receives applause. The one who chooses light in a world addicted to illusion becomes a living sermon, the kind of sermon that needs no words. You were not created to chase gold. You were created to become gold, to be refined, to be radiant, to be real. Every time you choose integrity over image, you shine brighter. Every time you choose humility over hype, heaven applauds. Every time you choose purpose over popularity, you ascend another level in the invisible hierarchy of truth. And when the day comes that the world forgets your name, eternity will still remember your spirit. That is the ultimate revelation. The award shows will fade, but the soul's ceremony never ends. It continues every morning when you rise to face the mirror and choose who you will be today, not by what the world expects, but by what truth demands. The lights of fame will one day go out, but the fire within you must never die, because that fire, your will, your integrity, your devotion, is the light by which generations will see.